So one question I find comes very naturally in the realm of grafting is how long is it going to take for me to get fruit off that new branch that I grafted? And that can definitely vary based on how you've grafted. Have you grafted just to a small rootstock and you're growing a tree? That can definitely have a different answer than how long is it going to take for a new branch on a large tree to bear fruit. And that's what I want to show you today. I've got 17 varieties on this tree so far. And I had something peculiar happen on this tree where a few of the branches that I had just grafted on actually pushed out flowers, and those developed some fruit, and I kept those. So this graft right here, as well as the graft that I've got right here, were both just put on this spring. As you can tell, the wrappings are still there. I haven't even removed those yet. And yet we've got a piece of fruit. So let's take a look at what that fruit looks like. So one thing you may or may not have already caught on to is that it is actually August right now, and I am now harvesting a Carolina Red June. So even though it bore fruit, it definitely didn't follow the exact timeline we might have expected it to had it been originally on the tree. So I'll try and remember to check that out next year if we get some fruit on it again and see just how long it took. It's got some blemishes to it, but overall it looks really good. Never had this variety before, so let's go ahead and take a taste. So it's definitely a little bit on the mealy side. I probably should have picked it a few days ago. But I also have this happen sometimes with the Gravenstein. If it's just a little overripe, it tends to get that way. It's got nice white flesh in there, but nothing really stands out to me on the flavor. But I mean, it's definitely a very ripe apple. I've heard these are supposed to be a little bit smaller of an apple, so I don't think the size was really affected by being on a new graft. But what I really want to look at, especially today, is did this affect the grafts at all? Because the biggest reason people say to pull off that fruit is so that your graft won't be affected, your graft won't die. And certainly if you're growing out horizontally and you've got a piece of fruit there and you don't have a tight connection for your graft, you may break off the limb with that extra weight. Certainly possible, but I wrap my grafts extremely tight, so I wasn't worried about that. And I think the evidence here shows that they did just fine. Because as we take a look here, these are the two grafts I put in of this same variety on the same limb of the same tree. This one's a little bit closer to the base of the tree, so perhaps it took a little bit more from the tree, didn't let as much get here, but without a doubt, this grew more than this. So the graft that actually had the fruit on it grew more than the one that didn't. So to say that this isn't something you can do, I don't think is true, but definitely there could be situations where you don't want to let the fruit stay on there. But is it possible to get fruit off of something you grafted the same year? It's absolutely possible. Will you always have something flower? No. Should you always leave the fruit? No. But I just think that some of these rules of thumb that we tend to have really just require some evaluation based on specific circumstance to see if you should follow them. But hopefully this has helped satisfy some of your curiosities, and hopefully you guys are getting some good yields out of your fruit this year too. Thanks for watching.